107.5 WGCI, the Shine's number one for hip hop and R&B. It's your boy, the shortest damn man on the radio, Kyle Santillian. I'm in the building right now with Slum Village. What's happening, fellas?
What's going on?
We got T3 in the building. We got RJ in the building. How y'all feeling?
Oh, we're feeling fantastic.
Man.
You know how it is.
Y'all not too far from the crib. Y'all here in Chicago from Detroit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, this is second home.
Yeah. There's a lot we could talk about. Let's just start with that relationship really quick, man. We're definitely in the Midwest.
Right.
You guys have had a relationship with Chicago from the beginning of your career, you know, with cosigns as much as, like, you know, from Kanye West,
Yep.
you know, back in the early 2000s. Man, talk about that Detroit-Chicago relationship a little bit.
Man, that's family. You know, like my aunts and cousins, all of them live here.
Okay.
So I'm here all the time. So it's like the second career for real.
Yeah.
And one of my best friends and closest friends is from Chicago. So this is like the crib. All the artists is dope. And I think we got the same struggle with not having the outlets. You know what I'm saying? As far as music wise. So we relate to the same things. I think that's what makes us so close.
I feel like that's kind of changing, though. I feel like in recent years, there's been a lot more artists that have been coming out of Chicago. There's a lot more artists that have been coming out of Detroit, kind of making
sure.
waves too. You know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we thinking about when we first came out, when it was like limited resources, when you didn't have any record labels that was here, that was really going out to sign. You know, like if you take the people like Kanye or Common, who had to go to New York to get their deal.
Right.
Or even Slum Village, we had to go to New York to get our deal.
Right.
Well, our first deal was in LA, but yeah, so it's just the outlets. But now, you know, you don't need all that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Artists popping up from everywhere.
What year was the first Slum Village album? Was it 99?
99. Officially.
Right?
Officially, yeah.
Yeah.
99.
So here we are in 2019. We're talking about 20 years in the game.
Yeah, our 20-year anniversary is coming up for that album. We're going to be celebrating that next year, and we planning to do something big here in Chicago. So, yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. You guys are right now doing the City Winery show. You guys are still traveling, touring the country, doing shows. You know, how is it different now from 20 years ago?
Well, I mean, just it's different because a lot of ways, but mostly, I mean, it's different because it's just still shocking that we're finding new fans now.
Yeah.
Like, you would think people my age would be coming to these shows, but it's really not so much. And it's not really black and urban either. Right. So it's like that's what changed. When Slum Village first came out, now our audience was way different than what it is now.
Do you think that's the power of the internet? Do you think that's what it is? Do you think it's where the culture is right now? Like, what do you think contributes to that?
I think it's a mix. You got people that pass the music down to their kids. So it's just like for me, coming up, my parents was listening to Earth, Wind.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now, when Earth, Wind come to town, I'm like, I gotta go see Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah, no question.
You know what I'm saying? To bring back all the memories. So I think it's a little bit of that, and I also think it's the internet too, and the fact that we still dropping music with newer groups. You know, or artists like Chicago Kid, like BJ.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the different artists and Chance sampling the music.
Yeah. It was an acid rap.
Right? So all those things is what plays into like keeping the name and the legacy relevant.
Yeah, no doubt. We're 20 years in the game, man. Slum Village, man. We're here right now with RJ, T3 holding us down. I see you represent with the Dilla hat on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Rest in peace to Dilla for sure.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Talk about what his contributions are to the game as well, because you were talking about people discovering the group Slum Village 20 years later. Right. But I still occasionally say, I didn't know Dilla produced it. Oh wow, you know, all these years I didn't know he produced this, that, and the third. Like, as much work as he put out, you know what I mean? I'm finding myself still discovering songs that he produced that I didn't realize of the time. Right. Just talk about him as a legendary producer, and of course starting with Slum Village.
When we first, let's just go like this. When we came out, we gave our demo to Q-Tip. That's how we initially got started. So we gave our demo to Q-Tip. And at that time, he really didn't like the rhymes on there because we had these zany rhymes. But at the time, so he liked the beats. Yeah. So Dilla got on first, and then eventually, once we did Volume 1, Q-Tip was the one that kind of was playing it for all the artists, the tastemakers, because everything back then was word of mouth. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Did you hear this Slum Village? Oh no! And this guy would play for that guy and this guy. Sure. But back to Dilla, I think, man, the thing he added, he was more behind the scenes. Like, he was a flossy guy, but he was behind the scenes though. He didn't really like the fame like that. You know how it is. So I think that was like a gift and a curse for his legacy. You know, so wherever we go, we always representing him and by 10. So so we always bring that with us. But yeah, I think that was his thing. He didn't really want the. He wanted it, but not. He wanted the money. He didn't want the shot. He didn't. Let's keep it funky. You know what I'm saying?
He wanted the money and the success, but he didn't want all the problems that come with the fame and the paparazzi
Like
and all
being
that.
able to walk out in the streets and nobody know who it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But still have the money and the fruits of his labor.
Sure.
You know, so, and I think that's the way we are. You know what I'm saying? I also think that's what keeps your career going too.
Yeah.
Is the fact that you're not necessarily overexposed.
Right.
A lot of artists nowadays don't understand mystique. You know what I'm saying? That's something that we got from him too.
Understood.
Is keeping the mystique.
Yeah, you give people something to miss, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, but I get it now. If I was a new artist now, it wouldn't be a such thing as mystique because it's a million artists. It's more artists than it was when we was coming up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, what you gonna do but flood the market and hope something stick.
And everybody,
you know what I'm saying?
Everybody knows everything that their favorite artist is doing with social media, with the internet. Like nothing is. It's kind of weird when you don't know what somebody's doing. You know?
Yeah.
In today's climate.
Yeah, but you still got a couple people that still.
Yeah, like you got your Kendricks. He don't post.
Right.
You got your Coles.
He don't post.
Right. You got your Drakes. He rarely posts.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? The biggest artist in the game, you might as well say, got mystique.
And even Jay-Z.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
True indeed.
Yeah.
True indeed. Of course, you brought up Rest in Peace of 10 as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, those two guys, you started the root with, and we've seen some changes over the year. RJ is holding it down right now with Slum Village. Does that add, what does that do to the dynamic of Slum Village at a live show versus the music now as well versus back then? Like, how does that affect the sound overall? Would you
Well, see, the thing about this, everybody, except for like one person, everybody in Slum Village has grew up with Slum Village. So when Ella J was there, Jay, when he was a kid, he was there.
Right.
So it's like, this is all family.
Right.
So that's like the Temptations handing down routines and stuff like that. You know, watching it. You know, so it's just all been family.
You got it.
It's not live.
Yeah, we're not.
My video.
Yeah, so you're saying how it's all family regardless.
Yeah, but I said it's all family. So everybody who's been a part of Slum Village has been family.
Mm-hmm.
You good? Oh.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So everybody been a part of Slum Village has been family. So I didn't really have to teach him nothing about Slum Village because he's seen us from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? We was at his dad's studio recording before he was a part of the recording process with us. So, you know, it ain't really changed that much. It really hasn't changed that much.
I think about it and from my perspective. I think about it like, you know, I'm a big fan of the Roots. You know what I mean? Dice Raw has always been a part of the Roots, even though he wasn't technically listed as a member of the Roots. You know what I mean? You had the Wu-Tangs, you had Capadonna, who wasn't necessarily listed as one of the first 9 members. Right. But you know he's been there from day one. Right. You know what I mean? So is it similar?
Yeah, it's similar. It's just like people like Jerobi.
Yeah.
People have just really found out about Jerobi. We've been doing Jerobi, been there the whole time.
Yeah, been doing the whole, I mean, the thing is this: you have groups. It's not popular in hip hop.
Right.
A lot of rock artists do the same thing, but you said the Roots. Yeah. Like the bass player. You ain't seen him in 10 years. You know what I'm saying? You just looked up.
His name?
You just looked up and seen Hub ain't there. You know what I'm saying?
One day you was like, where's Hub at?
Where's Hub? You know what I'm saying?
Where's Scratch at?
Right. But when you look at, you know, people just like to hold a scope, a microscope on Slum because they hold it dear to their hearts. And I respect that. Right. You know what I'm saying? But it's the same formula it's always been. After Dilla left, it was always me and 3 in the studio.
Yeah, making the bulk of the stuff.
Making the music and making sure the songs is right.
Yeah.
So the same core of the recording process has been the same.
Yeah.
And when we do the show, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like watching your big brother, you know, and you waiting to play. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, to get in the game. So it's like I know all the moves. It's like when Randy was on the side of the stage in the Jackson 5 movie. You know what I'm saying?
Waiting on this shot.
Waiting on this shot. You know what I'm saying? So,
been learning the moves.
Yeah, we just, so we just having fun with it, man, and that's the main thing.
That is the main thing. Have fun with it, man. Because if it ain't fun, it ain't worth doing it, really, at this point in our career. Yeah.
No doubt. I mean, and again, you guys have been doing it for so long. Like, you are definitely one of the groups that's respected as being true to the roots of hip-hop, you know what I mean, the things that we hold dear as far as the foundations of hip-hop. We've seen the game go through changes.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be changes. But, I feel like there's certain artists that kind of fall into that vein. Like, you can go to these artists and you're going to get the essence of what it's supposed to do. And, regardless of all the changes, I should say, and the things that have taken place, you guys still represent that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, no question. Let me ask you this, man. With all of the artists that are in the game today, who are some of the ones that you guys really respect? Like, you guys listen
new school or old school?
I'm talking about newer artists.
It's a lot of dope artists. Kendrick, of course. Cole, Chance, a lot of guys, man. It's a lot of guys, even on the trap side. Some of them artists I mess with.
You got the little Dirks. You know what I'm saying? I mess with Dirk. I mess with Herbo too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we stay current with what's going on, and
for sure.
And the artists, that's the only way you can keep your ears sharp. You know what I'm saying? Is if you really understand what's going on and why it's working. So we respect a lot of the younger artists.
I find myself in a place sometimes where, like, because I am one of those guys. Even though I work in this environment, you know what I mean. I find myself at times I would get frustrated with whatever the state of music was at the time, and the artists that are, I guess, leading the popular path, you know what I mean, and feeling like maybe they're getting a little bit more respect than some of the artists I feel like should be getting that respect. But it does kind of balance out because Kendrick and Cole and those guys are some of the ones that I would agree with as well. Right. But overall, I've had to learn to kind of like some of the other guys that I may not have liked 5 or 10 years ago.
Right.
Correct. You know what I mean? Because I had to say, you know what, let me untrain my ears a little bit. Let me give this a shot. And I do find that I enjoy some of the stuff more than I did when I just wasn't giving it a chance at all.
Yeah, that's true. See, now that's what you call old man stuck. Don't be old man stuck. I am not stuck in the 90s. Yeah. I love the 90s. Right. I love a lot about it, but it's more to learn.
Yeah.
Growing up, when I used to go to record stores, I didn't know what I was going to hear. Yeah. I'm just going through records, trying to find something that sparks my ears. So whether it's new or old, I'm just looking for new creative music and just dope joints. Yeah. You know what a dope joint's at. You know what I'm saying? And I can respect a dope song and a good song from anybody. And I know some stuff is trash too. It is some trash out there. It's some hot garbage dancing on the radio waves.
There was a lot of trash in the 90s too.
Like, but it was some trash in the 90s. See, they been forgetting there was trash.
We like to act like it wasn't a Luke Skywalker. You know what I'm saying? Right. What is the difference between that and mumble rap?
The only difference, and this is my opinion, the only difference I feel like is that even though there were trash artists that always existed, whatever era that you're in, right?
Right.
I feel like the trash artists we knew were trash, and there wasn't as many of them, and it was like, yo, these guys are dope, but how did he make it? He's trash. Now it's like, all of these guys are trash. How are they making it? And these few over here are not getting that respect. It's kind of, the tables have flipped a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the taste of music. It's just the taste.
Yeah.
Okay, in a minute you're gonna be trapped out. You're gonna be like, dang, what's next?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In a minute you're gonna be trapped out because right now, I do feel like trap is kind of getting a little corny. The beats are sounding a little the same, a little much, a little too much singing. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit, even though I like certain trap joints. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, to what you said earlier, too, though, I feel like some of the younger artists that have been raised on with their parents listening to 90s music are kind of revitalizing some of that, too. Like, I just been checking out YBN Cordae.
Oh, yeah.
YBN Cordae's album is dope. Like, he really got some bars, and he really got some concepts and themes, you know what I mean? And it kind of takes me back to that, but still sounding current at the same time. He's an example.
Yeah, because he's realizing that there are formulas. Yeah. There is a longevity formula, and it's right there for everybody to see. Look at Jay-Z.
Yeah.
See, you have to have a record. First of all, when you do an album, you have to have a record that can touch everybody. So that means you got to go the extra hood dudes or the young dudes, and then an old person like me can still respect it. Yeah. Now, if you get respect like that, that's the way Jay-Z did it. So he had hip hop dudes that was extra hardcore hip hop, and then he had street dudes. See, that's a formula for lasting long because you're not just hitting one genre of your spectrum. So he just going with that formula, like a lot of artists do that probably will be around for another 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt, no doubt. No doubt. Slum Village in the building, man. I guess before we wrap this up, man, what is this that you guys want people to know about Slum Village and what you guys are doing? You know what I mean? You just want everybody just to be part of.
We selling TVs. That's jokes. Get your flat screens.
Flat screens.
I mean,
TVs, man. Y'all still out here making music and touring, man. Y'all doing well, right?
Yeah, we good. We just look for some new music. We got some music coming. Look for the future, man. We be out here touring, doing shows, having a great time.
Yeah, and if we want Chicago, when you see that name Slum Village to pop up, act like it's your family coming to town.
Yeah.
Come on out, even if you don't feel like it. Like tonight.
Even if it's a random Tuesday.
It's a random Tuesday, but come on out.
All right, no doubt. Well, appreciate talking to y'all brothers today, man. RJT3, Slum Village representing out of Detroit, Midwest, hanging out in Chicago.
Yes,
we definitely appreciate you, bro.
Thanks for having us,
both of y'all.
For sure. Yep.
There it is, GCI.